We're about to beat Gauntlet up in this bitch.
Should I be a wizard or a jester?
Right now I feel like a joke. Let's be a jester.
I like the red one. He has a different mask.
Welcome, Red
Yeah.
Jester.
This is actually interesting from a lot of perspectives. This game was released on like PS1 and N64 as Gauntlet Legends,
Yeah.
and it was also on arcade cabinets. Now Dark Legacy here is actually a full expansion. That's why for a PS2 game this looks like a PS1 game.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
added like a new area and 4 new characters, which the Jester is one of them. He's not typical in Gauntlet.
Mhm.
He has something I might showcase later is there's a lot of goofy cheat codes for this with the named selector thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like there's a cheat code I know by heart to enter in to make that gives you a custom Jester class that is a smiley face stickman.
That sounds amazing.
Look at the way this dude prances around.
It's quite-
This this has some interesting mechanics with how you do stuff. Like there's different types of attacks. There's like that's like your standard ranged.
Right.
When you just straight walk into enemies, it will activate your melee.
Oh yeah.
Which the idea behind that is you're putting yourself at much larger risk to get more points.
Mhm.
Because you're way more open to hit than if you're just standing back doing this.
Yeah.
And when you're actually directly meleeing, you can actually press either X or circle or square. I can't tell which one it is on the Xbox controller to contextually do light or heavy attacks.
What do you mean, Will? This is being played on a perfectly legitimate PS2.
Yes.
Don't
And
break character.
you also have this like triangle really powerful moves
Oh yeah.
that charge up of a meter in the corner there.
Mhm.
And you have this interesting like it's like a dodge thing that also works on your energy. Like this move right here. I do not know how to use that, and that's a problem because there are some enemies that kind of require it. You'll see one. You're going to see this big Reaper dude in this area.
Poison
Mhm.
fields.
Now I can talk ad nauseum about this place we're going to right here because this is interesting because it got changed a lot between the two versions.
Mm.
The lore of this place was like there's these giant airships dropping these like poisonous barrels over this place, turning everyone into zombies.
Oh.
This actually got changed. Now the whole area is like graveyard themed with no airships, and all the zombies were caused by like a lich.
Oh. Okay.
But the airships were actually tacked onto a completely different area, which I don't know. I thought the original idea was more interesting.
Yeah. No, I see that.
This game tries to mediate, like, it's a little different from the arcade version. It tries to mediate like a somewhere between like a proper like linear story game and an arcadey experience.
Oh yeah.
Your level progression is you level up kind of like in a traditional RPG.
You're just killing up enemies.
You know, you level up killing enemies, doing all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's why you want to do stuff like the meleeing.
Yeah.
And there's actually really interesting perks you get for leveling up. Like your character will actually get when you get into the really high levels, like level 70 up, your character will actually have cosmetic changes.
What? Okay,
And-
that sounds badass.
And the cosmetic changes are not only specific to your class, but also the color you picked for your class. Which is very interesting. And now the Jester is a very interesting character because his moveset looks different cosmetically on each color of him.
What?
Like my melee moves, like when I get up close to a dude, would look completely different on the red guy here than it would on a green Jester, for example.
This is surprisingly polished and in depth for like a. Well, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. I mean, this game's been ported several different times, but I mean, that's amazing. It feels like a lot of games didn't have that level of change.
Now, to keep this like a somewhat arcadey experience, you basically save your character as like a profile.
Oh yeah.
And progression through the different worlds is based on collecting these crystals. Like different crystals, you have to collect a certain amount of them to unlock a different area.
Oh,
Like the next area, which is like a mountain kingdom, we need to collect like 150 of these red crystals.
Okay.
So yeah, like they did a lot of interesting things to kind of meet it somewhere between like a story-based game and an arcade game.
Yeah. Yeah, I can. Oh.
Everything else is pretty, typical Gauntlet for the course. You have monster spawners, which are these things which you gotta destroy to keep them from spawning. I think it was mentioned that either Legends or this one itself introduced this idea of like you see the tombstones, like there's decrepit ones, and then there's like kind of, complete unbroken ones.
Yeah.
Those spawners, like the idea is like the more built up they are, the higher level enemies come out of them.
Oh yeah.
So if I start doing damage to them, it can only start spawning like level 2 and 1 enemies after that.
Okay.
This is gonna be like kind of a weird thing for me, but like Gauntlet is one of these weird games from like the PS1, PS2 era that like did that weird thing where they start on their spooky level for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I always take weird note of when a game does that.
Yeah. Those interesting little tidbits. Like you never start off a game on like say an ice level. I don't know. Well, I guess that's the difference between like certain attributes of a level and like difficulty versus.
I mean, way to call out Crash Bandicoot there, Sean. Starting out on the ice level.
Because like I mean, like when you start a game, usually it's just like you get adjusted to the game first.
Yeah. See this dude? He's a bastard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
he just fucking spiked you.
I'm just gonna exploit his AI.
Oh boy, the cheese. I bet there's plenty of cheese tactics in this game.
Yeah, you remember when I was like playing the original Gauntlet? I was talking about how the enemies have no true AI; they just kind of mindlessly go after you.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely convinced that these enemies are much more intelligent.
Yeah.
Maybe only marginally so.
Yeah.
Because they actually they know if you're close enough, they'll actually know to like go around a doorway or something.
Oh
Unlike Gauntlet 1 and 2 monsters, which will just keep facing the wall to be as physically close to you as possible without thinking about how to go around a doorway.
Yeah. An interesting. Or go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I would say an interesting thing I had noticed about the game so far. Well, first of all, I was gonna say one of my my experiences with the game was actually on the Nintendo 64 when I played it with my.
Oh yeah, Legends.
Yeah, when I played it with my siblings, and I remember it fondly, and then I remember playing I think there was like a GameCube version that I played with my friends years later, my friends at college, and it was definitely not what I remembered, but that could have been the version overall.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird differences. Like I think Legends, obviously does not start out on the graveyard area. I think it starts out on the Mountain King area.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of weird little differences. This power-up, I don't completely know what it does. I think it's related to like being able to just walk over traps.
Oh yeah.
Which also classes, the different classes get special abilities once you get higher up. I think both archers and jokers get this ability where they can just destroy traps.
Amazing.
But like I'm talking about when you get up so high, like you're level 70 to 90, when you're probably in the last like 2 or 3 areas of the game.
Yeah. One of the thing I was going to mention about this game is that there's an interesting like hit marker, in that the characters just flash white, or like when you're attacking something and it just flashes white. Yeah. I remember the Phoenix or like the little pet things that you can have.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really cool. It's really fun. Yeah. My experience with Gauntlet just as kind of like me playing with my siblings and then me playing with my college friends, and that little bit of that new Gauntlet, new-ass Gauntlet game that we played a little while back.
These guys right here with the big saw blades, they remind me, they're just like the guys from the Undead Settlement in Dark Souls 3.
Oh yeah.
The big guys with the two-handed saw blades and like the cages on their back.
Oh yeah. Yes, yes, I remember.
Every game is Dark Souls if you try hard enough.
Every game is Dark Souls if you hard enough. If you try hard enough too.
I should also I have a particular love for this game, not only owning it and playing it a lot as a kid, but this Gauntlet game is very similar to the type of ilk of PS2 era RPGs I really like. The hack and slashes like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, and Champions of Norath. This kind of like semi-isometric like dungeon crawling hack and slash.
Yeah.
Obviously, it plays a lot differently in the sense of those games are very akin to Diablo with like loot and stuff like it, and stuff you find in it, like actual equipment.
Yeah.
But the gameplay-wise, it's very similar in my mind, except for the how much more of an emphasis on ranged options this game has, unless you're like doing a dedicated archer thing in one of those games.
Yeah. And you had mentioned the other day that like there are these other types of games that are like this, but they're kind of like based off other franchises. Like I remember that there was a game like this. It was either for the PS2 or for the GameCube, but there's one based off like Avatar, one for like Marvel or like Heroes.
Yeah, that's a game I'm actually very fond of. The Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. There's two of them, and they play like these games, but they're centered around Marvel heroes, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and I remember playing it, and I remember playing as like some sort of green alien. I can't remember. His name was John. It's been a while.
My favorite Marvel character, John. John
you are Alien. John Alien, Space Marine. But there's
I would just want these exploding barrels. I will never get used to the hitbox on them.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the hitbox was kind of big and it, like just blew you away.
And it like goes way beyond the effect.
Yeah. Yes, that's some like Banjo-Kazooie shit when you aren't expecting it. Like I don't know, that probably didn't even make sense, but.